Let's call the meeting to order. We are all present this evening except for Ben, and Ben will be absent. Item 2, at the Commissioner's request, discuss any item of concern. First mistake tonight. The invocation this evening will be given by Tom Pullen. Is Tom Pullen here? If you would, go ahead and use the mic, and we appreciate your being.
Join me as we pray. Our Heavenly Father, we ask this evening hour that you would be with our mayor and our council, Lord. We thank you for Enid America. We believe, Lord, it's a great town, it's a great city, and we got great people. And Lord, I just pray that you would guide their meeting, guide their decisions, issues, whatever is discussed. And at the end of the day, Enid to be a better place to live. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Jonathan, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Love to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, thank you.
All right.
Item 4, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of February the 6th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. For item 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present the pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter.
Kind of a skinny rascal.
Hi, good evening. I'm Charlotte Ringwald. I'm the adoption coordinator at the Enid Animal Control Shelter. And right now, this is my buddy here. He's living in Pen 26 right now. His name is Izzy. And he is about 3 months old. He's still a puppy, so he's got a lot of growing to do. We kind of guess that maybe he's a lab pointer mix. Your guess is as good as mine. And we have lots of dogs that have been brought in this past couple of weeks. So we have some available, but we'll have a bunch more available next week. So if you're looking for a new friend, please stop by. We've got tons of them. And thank you. Ready?
Thank you.
I know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Item 5.2, presentation of private reinvestment award from Oklahoma Main Street Center. Steve?
Mayor, can you join us for this presentation, please? Ladies and gentlemen, and Mayor, City Council, and Mr. Gilbert, we have a presentation this evening. A young lady from Oklahoma City, Buffy Hughes, is joining us. And to make that introduction and tell us what this is all about, because there's some plaques involved to be presented, let me introduce to you Kelly Tompkins, from Main Street, Enid. Kelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Steve. This is Buffy Hughes. She is the director of the Oklahoma Main Street Center, a division of the Oklahoma Department of Commerce.
Hello, and I'm glad to be here in Enid. I am here to present a plaque to both the city and Enid, Main Street Enid, for a $40 million private reinvestment in the district. And so, Mayor, I would appreciate it if you would accept this plaque on behalf of the Oklahoma Main Street Center. And we really appreciate the city being a partner with the Main Street program and also investing in the Main Street area. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you, Kelly.
You did a lot of things right.
You too. So,
This is one of them.
absolutely. But yeah, $40 million, it's wonderful. All right, thank you.
That is a 4 with a lot of zeros behind it. Thank you.
Sounds like a banker.
What?
Sounds like a banker talking.
Item 5.3, consider appointments to the Vance Development Authority. Jill, do you have those?
Yes, Mayor, there are 4 representatives that are currently serving on VDA that Mayor Shuey is recommending for reappointment. They are Mr. John Blankenship from the Chamber, Mr. Brent Kissling from ERDA, Mr. Jim Henderson is a licensed realtor, and Ms. Krista Roberts, who is the hospital administrator at St. Mary's. All of these trustees would serve through March 1st if approved.
Move to approve?
Second?
Motion by George, second by Ron. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 5.4, consider appointments to the Aviation Advisory Board, the Board of Adjustment, Enid Joint Recreation Triad, Meadow Lake Golf Course Advisory Board, Meadow Lake Golf Course Advisory Board, Park Board, Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, Construction Board of Adjustment, and Public Access Television Advisory Board.
All right, Mr. Mayor, we'll start with Board of Adjustment. There are 2 vacancies to be filled. They're the vacancies of Andrew Long and John Mers, who are incumbents. And Mr. Mers is term limited. Mr. Long doesn't seek reappointment. We received 3 applications from Jessica Edwards, Bill Stitsworth, and Taylor Venus. Jessica Edwards, is she in the audience? Bill Stitsworth? And I see Taylor, do you? Okay. So you have 3 applicants and 2 vacancies to vote on.
I didn't.
She picked, when she gets it picked up, go to the next one.
Okay. The next one is the Enid Joint Recreation Triad Board. There's 1 vacancy to be filled. Mr. Brian Skaggs was the incumbent. He's still on the board, but he's been appointed as a corporate representative. Therefore, we've received 2 applications from T.J. Runzer and Bill Stitsworth to serve on the board of EGRT until March of 2021. So again, you need to vote. You've got 2 vacancies, or excuse me, 1 vacancy, 2 applications. Is T.J. Runzer in the audience? Sir, do you want to come on up and anything you want to say to the commission as they prepare to vote?
I submitted my application last year. I'm involved with some, well, a little background. I own Tiger Pawn and Jewelry downtown, a family-owned business here, 28 years. Coach Little League teams, do a lot of stuff with kids at Booker T. Washington, and just one of those things, just want to be involved and help. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Stitsworth's not here. Vote for 1, please.
All right, well, they're tabulating results. The next board is the Meadow Lake Golf Course Advisory Board. We have two vacancies. 1 vacancy must be filled by a member of the Meadow Lake Men's Golf Association. The incumbent was Michael Oakes. He does not seek reappointment. We've received 2 applications from Kirk Gore and Mr. Bruce Lack. Is Kirk Gore in the audience? Kirk, do you want to come up and say anything?
Just a little background on myself. I did serve on the LGE last year, Leadership Greater Enid. I'm a small business owner here in town. I just think I could bring some new insight and try to make the golf course a little more profitable with some new ideas. So that's one of the reasons, and to be more involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Bruce Lack, I see you're in the audience, so please come on up and.
Yeah, I was on the EYI board, EJRT board years ago. And I've been a resident of Enid for 40-plus years. I've been a member of the golf course for several years. And I just think I can help with the golf course.
Thank you. All right, you've got one vacancy to be filled by a Men's Golf Association member, and you've got 2 applicants. So, there's also another vacancy to be filled on the Meadow Lake Golf Advisory Board. Mr. Bob Adamson was the incumbent, doesn't seek reappointment. We've received 2 applications, Mr. Jack Pappy Beam and Mr. Joe Jackson. Also, either Bruce or Kirk could be considered too when we figure out which one you appointed previously. Is Mr. Beam here? Mr. Beam, do you want to come on up and talk about the golf board?
All I can say is that I play golf all the time. I play at Meadow Lake. I play at the country club, and I also play out at Pheasant Run. And I think that you could do a lot better with money you have for Meadow Lake to bring more value to it. And I've played there, and I like it. So that's about all I can say. Thanks.
Thank you. Joe, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Mayor and Commissioners, moved to Enid, Oklahoma in 1982, and Meadow Lake is the golf course I've played pretty avidly throughout my living here. Like I say, I'm an avid golfer. I'm just not a very good one, so I give it a shot. I have served on this advisory board before, and I am interested in the course and its future success. And I know Michael League, and I'd enjoy working with him, so I'd appreciate your consideration for this appointment.
All right, I think before you cast your vote for that, I think we should probably, one of the 2 prior applicants, only one vacancy can be filled by a golf association member. I don't know if we have those results yet.
We do. Kirk Gore.
Do you want to read that off?
The vote was 5-1. Those in favor were Derwin Norwood, Jonathan Waddell, Tammy Wilson, George Pankinen, and Mayor Shuey. For Bruce Lack was Ron Jansen. Vote was 5-1.
All right, then the final vacancy to be filled on the Meadow Lake Golf Board, there's 1 vacancy and there's three applicants, Mr. Beam, Mr. Jackson, and Mr. Lack.
Take care of the ones that I had. You probably need this. I have 2 that have been completed, and that is for the Board of Adjustment. The 2, the most votes were Jessica Edwards and Taylor Venus. Jessica Edwards had 5 votes. Jansen, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, and Shuey. Taylor Venus had 6 votes. Jansen, Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, and Shuey. And Stitchworth had 1 vote, and that was Norwood. For the Enid Joint Triad, or Recreation Triad, TJ Runzer had 6 votes. Jansen, Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, Shuey. Congratulations. The work has only begun. Gerald, I think Public Arts Commission of Enid is next.
Okay. There's one vacancy due to the resignation of Ms. Lindy Funk. Applications have been received from Ms. Paula Nightingale and Ms. Faith Riley. Ms. Nightingale, are you here? Okay, Ms. Riley?
Mayor Shuey and Councilman, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I've had the privilege to visit a lot of the cities in the USA and observe their art. And as for me, I'm a creative, artistic person. I've had lessons in sculpture. I do painting. I do many things, and I would like to be a part of the development of art in Enid. I can foresee Enid becoming the art expo city of Oklahoma. Other cities have themes, other cities have artistic development. Let's make Enid something great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you have 2 applicants and 1 vacancy for the Public Arts Commission. Sleep. Yes, the park board will go on to park board. We have 4 vacancies on the park board. Mr. Matt Davis, Mr. Shay Crawford, and Ms. Stallings were incumbents. Mr. Davis and Ms. Stallings do not seek reappointment. Mr. Crawford is term limited, and another vacancy occurred due to the resignation of Ms. Ball. So 4 vacancies, 5 applications have been received from Mr. Jerry Allen, Mr. Mark Kiefer, Ms. Diane Levesque, Mr. Taylor Venus, and Ms. Jenna Spencer. Is Jerry Allen here? Okay. Mr. Mark Kiefer? Okay. Ms. Diane Levesque? Is there anything you would like to say to the commission? Okay.
As you all know, I'm good at showing up. Levity aside, I know that you are basically familiar with my technical background in other applications, but this is my time to showcase my agricultural background insofar as it may be applicable to the parks. I grew up in southern Illinois in the middle of the Shawnee National Forest, so I have to make a correction on my application. I do have one local reference, Mr. Gilbert, who can attest to the fact that I know very well how to identify poison ivy. There was quite a lush, manicured and well-kept patch of it right next to the Gaslight Theater, and then after I pointed it out, it was taken care of. And now I'd like to point out that there's a nice patch of it in Government Springs South, just south of the footbridge. And that's something that y'all were previously considering doing something with. And of course, I've got ideas, and some of them I've already run by you. With regards to the Wildlife Commission that deals with Meadow Lake, I have an additional resource that I would like to put before the board. That would be the Wildlife Federation Fund, which would be an additional boost to your bird sanctuary. And just so you know, I'm just as comfortable talking with Kevin. Gosh, I hope I got that name right. I'm bad with names. I have to live with it. Please bear with me. I'm just as comfortable talking with the gentleman in charge of the parks about rose-breasted grosbeaks and the the rufous-sided towhee I had show up in my own backyard, orchard orioles, and I haven't seen any of those in your bird sanctuary, and I'd love to talk to the board about that. as well as Monarchs. It's an exciting time where you're also dealing with the overhaul of the overpass, and there are parks nearby that, for which there are also additional resources that I happen to know about, having to do with the fact that ODOT is already working with Chip Taylor in landscaping along I-35. He's somebody in Kansas. He's associated with, oh, you guessed it, Monarch Watch in Kansas. He can provide landscaping materials of a certain type. And with the budgetary considerations that put the Parks Department in a pinch, I think that you would all do well to consider that. Whether or not I'm appointed, I hope at least I've been able to make a positive difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor Venus? Okay. And let's see, Ms. Jenna Spencer. Okay, you have 4 vacancies on Park Board and 5 applicants.
We don't have any more ballots.
I don't see the art.
Are they all by acclamation?
Art is on, if that's the most current agenda.
Yeah, yes.
I'm going to do the Meadow Lake Golf Board, the Golf Advisory Board. Joe Jackson has 3 votes. Bruce Lack has 2 votes. Jack Beam has 1 vote. Votes are as follows: Jack Beam, Pankinen, Joe Jackson, Waddell, Wilson, and Shuey, Bruce Lack, Jansen, and Norwood. Joe Jackson will be the member of the Golf Advisory Board at Meadow Lake. The Public Arts Commission of Enid, Faith, is it Driley?
Yes.
Faith Driley has 5 votes, Paula Nightingale 1. The votes, need to check something here. The votes are 5 votes for Faith Driley, Jansen, Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, Paula Nightingale. The vote was Shuey. Vote was 5-1. Congratulations. I think, are the others by acclamation?
Yes, I'll go ahead and read them, and I think we're still tallying Park Board. Aviation Advisory Board, there's 3 vacancies to be filled by residents to be appointed by the city manager and approved by Mr. Bob Lyons and Mr. Kiefer are incumbents. Mr. Lyons seeks reappointment. Mr. Kiefer's term limited. Applications have been received by Mr. Mac Allison and Mr. Beam. Mr. Beam, do you wish to speak to Aviation Board? Okay, and let's see, Mr. Mac Allison, is he here? And I don't, is Mr. Lyons here? Okay, that's why you don't have a ballot. You have 3 vacancies and 3 applicants.
Motion to accept? Do we need a motion to accept?
Yes.
Motion to accept. Okay.
Jonathan, second.
Second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, on the Public Access Television Board, there are 3 vacancies due to the resignations of Mr. Hoopengarner, Mr. Smith, Ms. Penny Bishop. However, we only have 1 applicant at this time, Mr. Alexander Ford. Is Mr. Ford in the audience? Sir, do you want to come on up? I got a pretty good feeling you're going to be on this board real soon.
I'd just like to give a little bit of my background. I've been doing media and video for 19 years. Before I moved to Enid, I had at OKCCC, I was in the film and video production with Fritz Kirsch and Gray Fredrickson. Then I went to UCO with mass communications. And then I came up to Enid and finished at NOC for general ed. But I've worked at World Harvest for the last 7 years as media, but the last 3 has been in video and streaming for high definition. So,
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I think you'll be a great addition. I think we do need to go ahead and have a motion and a vote to approve
Motion to
one
accept.
application.
Second.
Motion by Jonathan, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Park Board. We had 4 vacancies. The most votes were Jerry Allen, Taylor Venus, Mark Kiefer, and Janice Spencer. Jerry Allen had 6 votes. Jansen, Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, and Shuey. Taylor Venus had 5. Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, and Shuey. Kiefer had 6. Jansen, Norwood, Waddell, Wilson, Pankinen, and Shuey. Spencer had 4. Jansen, Waddell, Pankinen, and Shuey. Vesk had 3. Jansen, Norwood, and Wilson. That's it. Those 4 will be the members of the Park Board.
Okay, we still have a couple of more boards that don't require voting with the ballot. The MAPC Board, there's 2 vacancies. Mr. Mark Arnold and Mr. Cody Haney. Mr. Haney does not wish to be reappointed, but Mr. Arnold does. And he would serve on the commission through March of 2021. So we also need to have that.
Have a motion.
Move to accept.
Yep,
Motion by
second.
George, second by Ron. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, and the last one is Construction Board of Adjustment. There's 3 applications. This board is very specific about what qualifications people have to fill it. We do have 1 application from Mr. Raymond Barwick, who is the incumbent and a licensed electrical contractor and agreed to continue to serve. I think he's in the audience. Mr. Barwick, do you want to come up and speak? Okay. Thank you for signing back up. Ms. Jessica Edwards has also applied to fill a vacancy for a building contractor, a member of the building industry. I don't believe she's here tonight. And Mr. Thomas Rowe is a registered design professional or structural engineer or building contractor. Ken Corbin's the incumbent, but he's term limited. Mr. Rowe, are you here? Would you like to come up and speak?
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. I would just like to say that Enid is like my second home. My wife and I moved back to the area just 3 years ago. We lived here from mid-90s to early 2000s, and I was actually worked for the city of Enid, and just feel very welcome here. And I want to be able to use my skills that I have available and give back to the community and just be a serving member. Mr. Hitt was actually one of my references when I first got my professional license, so I just feel like I need to support the city.
Thank you. So we have 3 qualified applicants and 3 vacancies. We need to confirm that too.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Jonathan.
Second.
Second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0.
That completes item 5.4.
Do we have any more to get everyone tabulated? Good job. Item 6, community development. Item 6.1, conduct a hearing and consider an ordinance to rezone a tract of land located in the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 23 North, Range 7 West of the Indian Meridian, Garfield County, Oklahoma, more particularly described as follows. Commencing at the northeast corner of the northeast quarter of said Section 34, thence south 0 degrees, 4 minutes and 56 seconds east along the east line of said northeast quarter of a distance of 1,472.18 feet to the point of beginning, thence section,
And south.
section 89 degrees, 47 minutes and 50 seconds west, parallel to the north line of said northeast quarter, a distance of 602 feet, thence 0 degrees, 4 minutes and 56 seconds, parallel to the east line of said northeast quarter, a distance of 256.93 feet to the northeasterly right-of-way of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad, thence 32 degrees, 42 minutes and 51 seconds east along said railroad right-of-way, a distance of 493.20 feet, thence north 89 degrees, 47 minutes, 50 seconds east, a distance of 336.05 feet, thence north 0 degrees, 4 minutes, 56 degrees west, a distance of 672.84 feet to the point of beginning, which is in the 3400 block of North Oakwood on the west side. You can tell the railroad laid this out. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager Gilbert. The Oklahoma United Methodist Circle of Care owns this 8-acre tract. It is currently zoned agriculture. They are seeking to rezone it for R2. And if that does occur this evening, then their plan is to build a second single-family home that'll be used for foster children. When we look at rezonings, we want to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place, road, water, and sewer to support it. In this case, we do. The Planning Commission reviewed it. Their recommendation to you is to approve.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can I answer any questions?
Are they going to use the whole site, or are they just going to use a portion of it?
I don't know. I haven't seen how they're going to divide it and create the house, but that'll be our next step. Out of 8 acres, they have plenty of land.
It should.
Were there any objections to the residents that are adjacent to those areas?
There was one concern from the property owner to the south, and it related to drainage, and that'll be addressed when we issue a building permit for the house.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We have a motion
to approve.
Motion by George, second by Tammy.
Oh, it's a hearing.
It's a hearing and consideration of, we combined the item.
Oh, you're right. We don't vote on this, do we?
We're on 6.1, correct? We conduct a hearing and consider an ordinance. So we do need to.
Happen yet? Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by George, a second by Tammy. Please cast your vote.
Second it. I didn't.
You didn't second it?
I'll second it.
Ron? Sorry, Tammy.
It's fine.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, under administration, 7.1, consider a resolution amending the 2017-2018 Street and Alley Fund by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $15,000 to increase the 2017-2018 appropriated amounts for the Street and Alley Department. Amending the 2017-2018 Capital Improvement Fund budget by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $45,000 to increase the 2017-2018 appropriated amounts for the Capital Improvement Department, and amending the 2018 general fund budget by reducing appropriations in the amount of $60,000 to decrease the 2017-2018 appropriated amounts for the general fund capital replacement department. Aaron?
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, throughout the last few weeks, there have been several projects that have come up that wish to be funded under direction of the city manager, and in order to do that, need additional appropriations. I have identified places within the general fund that we can reduce funding in those areas to accommodate these projects. In the Street and Alley Fund, there's some sidewalk in front of Napoli's on Grand that we would like to get replaced before the baseball tournament is coming in. And then in the Capital Improvement Fund, there are actually three projects that we're looking to fund there. One is additional cost to Don Haskins Park for the sidewalks and parking there. It was budgeted in CDBG. We've ran over what that is due to some changes in that project with dirt work and some other things along the way, and additional funding is needed in the amount of approximately $10,000. There's some additional irrigation supplies needed for the ball fields that were budgeted originally in the 16-17 year. There are no funds in the budget in the current year for that project. And then there's a crosswalk across the street from the Commons. We're trying to get a crosswalk across there. We've discussed it several times in previous budgets, but it's been presented as a potential budget item, but it hasn't made the cut to actually make it into the budget. And there was a desire to place funds in there to complete that project.
Motion to approve. Motion by Ron.
Second.
Second by Derwin. Discussion. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 7.2, consider a resolution increasing the 2017-2018 Stormwater Fund budget by appropriating additional funds in the amount of $47,146.56 for the Stormwater Department budget to adjust units on Cherokee Avenue Bridge and road construction. Is that the one by St. Mary's Hospital?
Yes.
Correct, yes. Yeah. There's a consent item later on in the agenda that we need to approve to do this change order. The stormwater fund balance is sufficient to cover well in excess of this. And so if there's any questions on the technical parts of that engineering, we'll address those for you.
Motion to approve. Second. Motion by Ron, second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 7.3. Consider an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal Code 2014, Title III, Business and License Regulations, Chapter 7, Security Companies and Alarm Systems, to amend Sections 3-7-1, 3-7-2, 3-7-4 through 3-7-6, 3-7-8 through 3-7-13, and 3-7-15 to modernize standards and remove fire alarms, Title V, Public Safety, Chapter 4, Enhanced 911 Emergency Telephone Service, to repeal Section 5-4-3, Misuse of 911 and False Reporting of Emergency, and amending Chapter 5, General Offenses, Article F, by adopting 5F-6, Misuse of the 911 System, adopting 5-5F-7, False Reporting of an Emergency to include activation of alarm by any means, Title 9, Chapter 10, Section 9-10-1, Fire Code adopted, Section 9-10-2, amendments to Fire Code to include a new definition for false alarms and provide penalty providing for repealer, savings clause, severability, and codification. Carol?
Mayor, we studied this on February 6th, 2018. This is coming to you at the request of the fire department. Their thought was that false alarms involving fire would be better handled under the fire code, and that this very long ordinance accomplishes that. Additionally, there was a desire to change some of the wording concerning the false reporting of emergency, and that has been done to clarify all the different ways that false alarms or emergencies can occur throughout the city and to provide a uniform penalty. And that has been done. Section 107.7 of the false fire alarms covers that, and then we've got the emergency ones that cover 911 calls and other types of emergencies.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 7.4, execute a contract between Warren Power and Machinery, Inc., Midland, Texas, and the City of Enid for capital recovery of a water line extension project, W-1713A, and authorize the mayor to execute all contract documents after review by the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners and City Manager. This is the contract, final contract with Warren Cat Capital Improvement Project. This is the area, as you can see, North 81, and this is the properties along, right, yeah, this is the water line extended to the property. And this is the total area of the capital recovery, and the applicant is a 20 acres site. The total area is about 153 acres. The highlights of the contract is about the total contract costs $272,000, and the non-recovery cost is about $113,000. In the non-recovery, there is $100,000 from ERDA funded, and about the engineering cost is about, it's capped at 7%. And also the developer's share for this area for 20 acres is about $15,000. The future cost share about $140,000. The future users have the option to get about $542 per acre, and also about $4,000 per unit. The entire area divided into 18 units based on the usage. There is an annual inflation, 4%, and also it's a term which is about 20 years. These are the highlights of the contract.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Jonathan. Further discussion? Please cast your vote.
It doesn't want to work now.
Clear it? Okay. Now, vote. 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7.5, consider the Van Buren Highway 81 overpass, Oklahoma Department of Transportation's design recommended by the Public Arts Commission of Enid.
Michael Shuck.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael.
Michael Shuck with the Public Arts Commission of Enid, here to present the PACE recommendations for the artwork there on the overpass. This is the project we're looking at. The yellow line's Van Buren, the red there is the overpass, the orange line's Chestnut Avenue, where where it goes underneath the overpass. So that's one of the roads that's a lot of this artwork is going to be seen from. The bridge is going to be a nice little improvement for us. It's a 4-lane road. This has sidewalks on either side. Both those are protected with concrete walls from the traffic, and then the outside walls of the bridge are concrete, and that's where the art will be located. A little background about what's happened is ODOT has given us, we went to ODOT looking at, see if they'd participate in the public arts fund there, and they were kind of positive about it, and this is kind of after a little discussion, this is the things that we came up with. ODOT gave us a catalog of the different form liners that can be applied to bridges, And as you know, you basically on the concrete walls here, you'll build a form, you'll set one of those form liners in there that has raised artwork on it. And when you cast the concrete in there and remove the forms, that raised artwork is left. And so we looked through their catalog and kind of made some decisions off what we wanted off of that. On the diagram in front of you, the light blue, the colored areas are where we're looking at applying the art. The light blue is called a little parapet wall. That's going to continue all the way across the bridge. The yellow triangle there is the wing wall. And then the red cap there is a pier cap where another little piece of art would be. This is the overall scheme that we're looking at. This is really the color that we're looking at. Of course, it was the blue kind of representative of our city logo, the gold being the same as some of our our alternative logos. Also, the blue is kind of a representative of the sky, and the gold being kind of a golden wheat color. You can see kind of in that image how the sky reflects there in the golden color off the grass. This is the wing wall, where you can see we've selected a scissor-tail flycatcher, and then the raised part is the bird, and the background we're looking at painting that the gold color. This is the other part where it's a wheat motif. It's a kind of a tall grass or wheat motif, and we put the blue sky back behind that, and the wheat will be the raised part there. This is a part that's not part of what we're asking or what we're recommending right now. This is the pier cap. ODOT had looked at this, and we talked about getting the custom Enid logo placed here and having that cast in. They came back with that'd be a $10,000 add to the project, and we didn't necessarily want to do anything like that. So what we're doing right now is we're looking into finding a way like this example here is a cutout of Corten steel similar to the trailheads, have that Corten steel on it. So really what we're looking at here, what we've done in some of our meetings with ODOT is just coordinate anchor points for this, and we'll kind of debate what we want to do for that and come back to you later once we've kind of decided on that. So this part is not part of our recommendations right now, but one of the parts that we could be adding. So this is the overall image. I think we've got, you know, the sky color and the yellow golden colors and the scissor-tail flycatcher, you know, something pretty representative of Oklahoma and kind of our area around here.
Is the decoration going to be on both sides?
Yeah, both sides. As you drive under it from Chestnut going east or west, you'll be able to see it. We had some indication from ODOT that you'd be able to see it going over the bridge, and that's not necessarily the case after we've gotten that clarified. But yeah, from either side, you'll be able to see it from Ambucks Park a little and driving to and from, especially as you drive headed east down Chestnut, you'll be able to see the whole thing. One thing that's not illustrated on these images is there is a fence that goes up that blocks debris from falling off from the bridge onto the railroad tracks, and that's not represented here, but it'll be a big part of the bridge. I don't know, the Public Arts Commission is getting pretty excited about a bunch of different opportunities we have, and we hope to be bringing more things like this to you, and we kind of hope you like this one.
Very nice. It looks very good.
Thanks.
What's
Yeah,
the
there's no-
timeline on the bridge?
Yeah,
Yeah, I buried the lead there.
I think they're getting ready to go out to bid, which is why it's important to bring this today. Chris, do you have an update on the timeline for ODOT getting this out and building it?
No, I do not, but I can get you one.
It's soon, which was the urgency of getting this approved.
Motion to approve. Before you go there, how much lighting? Is there going to be any lighting?
How much what?
Lighting?
Lighting?
Bridge lights?
Yes, there will be some lighting on the bridge.
There's not much lighting there now.
There's not.
Let me clarify that Michael Shuck is a member of the art committee and an architect, works for the schools. He's been very instrumental working with the PACE committee on this. ODOT is actually in charge of bidding this out and supervising the project. I know there's lighting. I don't know the specifics, but we will try to get that information and bring it back soon so we can share that with you as they move forward. Our contribution to that is next to nothing. In fact, we spent a little money moving some utilities, but not very much. And it is good news that this improvement will get because of the efforts of the PACE committee and staff at no cost, as Commissioner Wilson mentioned. Did you want to talk about it any, or?
I think that's just a big, important thing for people to know, the ODOT.
Absolutely.
I'd also mentioned that the ODOT's agreed to put the flags stanchions up for us on there.
Nice.
Yes, that was important to the Enid Ambucks group that will put flags up on patriotic holidays as well. So it's going to look a lot better. Otherwise, because of the efforts of the PACE group, instead of seeing just plain concrete walls, you will see that now.
Does ODOT have a time frame for finishing it, even though they haven't let the bids?
I do not know the exact time frame, but we will get that. I know that I think they're going out next month is what, or this month maybe even.
I'll have to double check on that, but we should have a pretty good idea on how long it'll take and when we can get it back, and then when they plan on starting construction.
Be another work in progress for all of us. But it'll be nice. That looks nice, Michael.
We're all excited about it, so this should be good.
Ron made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Derwin? Further questions? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Michael. Item 8, consent items. Do we need to do something with 8.6? Or just approve it?
You can, it's your pleasure. You could approve it, or you could pull it out and we could talk about it some more. It's related to the budget item that we discussed already.
Anybody want to pull it out? Hearing none.
Move to approve.
Pardon me?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by George. Derwin, was you're the second? Motion and a second. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 9, we will now recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. All of the trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority are in attendance except for Ben. Item 11, the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 11.1, consider a resolution authorizing Enid Municipal Authority transfers in the amount of $15,000 to the Street and Alley Fund and $45,000 to the Capital Improvement Fund.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 11.2, consider a resolution increasing the 2017-2018 fiscal financial plan for the Enid Municipal Authority, the EMA, in the amount of $14,100,000.
Mayor, Commissioners, this item was originally approved in January of 2017. During the year-end close process, we'd only spent down about 10% of those funds. We thought it would be more appropriate to recognize those in this fiscal year, and we would just like to get those on the books and go ahead and get it. We've drawn down almost $10 million of that loan now, so.
That is for the Call Lake project?
Yes, this is the Phase 2 engineering for the Call Lake program.
To approve.
Second. Motion by Tammy, second by Ron. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 11.3. Carol, can we take these both at the same time, or do we need to do 11.3 and 11.4 separately?
You can make a motion for both at the same time.
This was done because we canceled the city council meeting on the 22nd of February due to ice.
Motion to approve 11.3 and 11.4.
Motion to approve item 11.3 and 11.4. Second.
Second.
Second by Derwin. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Do we need the amounts in the motion? Or just item 11.3 and item 11.4?
It can be handled by the city clerk in the minutes. It's fine.
That's okay?
Yeah.
Item 12, adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item 13, all of the trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are in attendance except for Ben. Item 14, the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 14.1, consider a resolution increasing the 2017-2018 fiscal financial plan for the Enid Economic Development Authority in the amount of $1,272,677. Aaron?
Mayor and Commissioners, back in September of 2016, there was a TIF district set up for TP&L. 2017 was the first time that those taxes were collected, and I received the distribution of those funds last week from Garfield County, and now I need authorization to add those to the budget so we can pay it out to the entities that the funds belong to.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jonathan.
Second.
Second by George. Discussion. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 14, approval of claims in the amount of $2,000. Item 14.3, approval of claims in the amount of $36,119.88.
Motion to approve 14.2 and 14.3.
Motion by Tammy.
Second.
Second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Are you keeping up? Great. If not, we'll slow it down. Item 15, we'll now adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item 16, all trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting in attendance except for Ben. Item 17, the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 17.1, approval of claims in the amount of $2,644.85. Item 17.2, approval of claims in the amount of $5,435.81.
Motion to approve 17.1 and 17.2.
Second.
Motion by Jonathan, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. We will now, item 18, we will now adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item 19, public comments. First one is Dr. Bill Taylor. I think Bill spoke in the study session. Next person on the list is Diane. Diane?
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Oak Avenue. And before I was sidelined by a nasty flu, thank you for your kind comments at the City Commission, Mr. Jansen. I appreciate it. That is what happened. I was going to talk about the Caw pipeline and this proposed scale back of stuff. And some of you have received email via the Enid municipal email system as to what my objections to scaling it down were, and that is it's different than what the voters voted for, and the voters have spoken. Now, there are some things that are of budgetary concern. I realize that, but I'm giving to you a view of what the voters see. The voters see with your idea of scaling down during a drought and everybody was on an even odd ration, a water rationing system, they thought that it was really urgent that we needed a larger capacity for water. And you all sold us on the idea that we were growing by leaps and bounds. And that was the first time I brought up the newspaper reports on what the actual sales receipts were, because I said that rate of growth was counterindicated. I dare say that today's facts and figures rather bear that out. However, what was proposed to the voters is what the voters voted on, and you have a commitment to stick with what the voters voted on, and that's the way the voters are going to look at it, because otherwise they're going to see what Enid Public Schools did with regards to their university center. They built that without voter approval on any kind of bond because there was quote-unquote bond savings realized. So somebody went and skimmed off the surface and say, hey, we're going to build this university center. That's what the voters are going to see. You sold them a bill of goods. We gave you this money that you're going to put into this particular project as proposed without any cutouts, because we didn't vote for any cutouts like for arts. You need to stick with what you sold the voters on, or the voters are going to feel like they got gypped, because what you're going to do is scale back and what? Feather nest with a surplus and build another, university center.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Wait a minute. Don Batson,
He
I
left.
think he left.
and I
I'm
think
sorry.
he's already-
Joe?
Everybody was on that one.
Joe is left too. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by George.
Second.
Second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. We are adjourned.
Thank you for joining us for the Enid City Commission meeting. All meetings are broadcast on local cable channel 12 and in high definition on channel 112. In addition, the council meeting is live streamed on the web at enidtv.org. If you have any questions or comments regarding this broadcast, please visit the City of Enid website at enid.org.